The established cosmology of our world is a simple, comforting narrative, a solid, layered sphere with a molten iron core, generating a predictable geomagnetic field. This is the model taught in every science classroom, the foundation of modern geology. But what if this foundation is a carefully constructed facade? What if the vast, unknown core of our planet is not a geological hellscape, but an intricate, hidden biosphere, a secret world deliberately concealed from the surface population? The concept of a subterranean realm is not a modern fantasy. It is a persistent, powerful echo across millennia, woven into the very fabric of human mythology. The ancient Greeks spoke of Tartarus, a pit deeper than the underworld. The Norse sagas detailed Niflheim, the primal world of ice and mist at the cosmic roots. Perhaps the most compelling is the Oriental tradition, the mystical, sprawling subterranean kingdom of Agartha or Shambhala, a vast network of interconnected cities and tunnels said to be inhabited by a highly evolved, spiritually and technologically advanced civilization. These legends insist that the interior of the earth is hollow, illuminated by its own internalized sun, and accessible through hidden, geometrically aligned portals at the Earth's most extreme points, the poles. For centuries, these were dismissible as mere parables. But in the 20th century, the pursuit of the hollow Earth transcended folklore and became a terrifying geopolitical imperative, driven not by spiritual yearning, but by a radical, destructive ambition. The trail leads directly to the black heart of Nazi Germany. The Third Reich was steeped in occultism and pseudoscientific mysticism. Under the direct patronage of Heinrich Himmler, the Ahnenerbe, Ancestral Heritage Society, financed and executed bizarre, aggressive expeditions to locate the true origin of the Aryan race and uncover lost, powerful technologies. Driven by fringe thinkers like Hans Horbiger, Welteislauer, World Ice Theory, the Nazis were convinced that the Earth was hollow and that the true, superior race resided within its perfect, preserved climate. The Nazi obsession with the poles was immediate and massive. In 1938, long before the war began, the Antarctic Expedition, 1938 to 1939, led by Alfred Richer, launched the Schwabenland mission. Officially, they were mapping, claiming territory, and researching weather patterns. Conspiracy archives suggest a darker, critical purpose, establishing a permanent, secret, technologically advanced research base, Base 211, or Neuschwabenland, deep within the ice-free thermal zones of Queen Maud Land, with the ultimate goal of locating and securing the polar entry point to Agartha. They sought not merely territory, but an alliance with the hyper-advanced inner Earth civilization, which they hoped would supply them with vril energy or esoteric weapons to win the war. The intensity of their post-war disappearance is equally revealing. Massive U-boat fleets and key personnel vanished without a trace after the German surrender. The conspiracy holds that these fleets carried essential personnel, blueprints, and perhaps even Hitler himself to the secured sanctuary of Base 211, a secret fortress deep beneath the ice, guarding the path to the inner world. The world dismissed this as fantasy, but the American military did not. Part 2. Admiral Byrd, Operation High Jump, and the Missing Logs. The Nazi endgame in Antarctica prompted a swift, massive, and overtly aggressive response from the United States military, centered entirely around one man, Admiral Richard Byrd. Admiral Byrd is a legitimate American national hero, a celebrated polar aviator, yet his most famous mission, Operation High Jump, 1946 to 1947, remains shrouded in suspicion. This was not a small scientific mission. It was a post-war invasion. The task force, designated Task Force 68, comprised 13 ships, 33 aircraft, and over 4,700 military personnel, the largest naval contingent ever sent to the Antarctic. The stated purpose was mapping and training. The unstated, whispered objective, confirmed by intelligence leaks, was the systematic investigation and neutralization of any surviving Nazi installations and the subsequent search for the rumored polar entrance to the hollow Earth. The operation was abruptly curtailed after only 8 weeks, returning prematurely in February 1947, citing bad weather. However, the ships returned damaged and there were unexplained personnel casualties. The official story simply does not account for the scale of the deployment, the speed of the retreat, or the subsequent silence. The centerpiece of the Hollow Earth conspiracy rests on Admiral Byrd's alleged missing operational map and private diary from his earlier North Pole flights. The legend claims that during a solo flight in February 1947, coinciding with high jump, Byrd's aircraft passed through a peculiar magnetic and atmospheric anomaly near the North Pole. His internal log allegedly details a terrifying transition, the exterior temperature suddenly rising to 74 degrees Fahrenheit or 23 degrees Celsius and his compass spinning wildly before locking on to a stable, internal magnetic pole. He reported seeing not ice, but a vast, ice-free green valley running with lush vegetation, running rivers, and rolling uniced mountains, a geological impossibility. The climax of the rumored diary is the encounter with inner Earth inhabitants. Byrd allegedly recorded meeting strange, disc-shaped aircraft, precursors to the modern UFO phenomenon, and being taken to a highly advanced city. The inhabitants, described as tall, benevolent beings with refined features, allegedly warned him about humanity's suicidal path toward nuclear armament. They claimed the surface world's actions were causing dangerous seismic and energetic instability for the entire planet. While the official Navy files deny the existence of this diary, the public record confirms Byrd's shift in demeanor and his cryptic statements upon his return. He told a journalist in Chile that he had flown over an extensive new land beyond the pole, a land of everlasting enigma. His later continuous operations, like Operation Deep Freeze 1955 to 1956, maintained the obsession with massive, secret military presence in the extreme polar regions, suggesting a massive cover-up designed to guard the secret of the opening.
Part 3. The Geomagnetic Paradox and Agartha's Gate. The most compelling modern data supporting the theory shifts the focus from historical testimony to irrefutable geophysical anomalies. The key lies in the phenomenon of magnetic flux anomalies at the poles. Conventional geomagnetic models predict a smooth, predictable convergence of magnetic field lines at the north and south poles. However, high-resolution satellite data consistently shows that the Earth's magnetic field at these extreme latitudes is highly chaotic. Specifically, there are vast, unexplained geomagnetic dips and sudden field intensity diminutions, areas where the field briefly weakens, or in some cases appears to invert. These geographical areas correlate precisely with the locations cited in the old Agartha legends, and critically, in the unofficial Byrd accounts. Hollow Earth theorists argue that these dips are not mere geological quirks. They are the direct energetic signature of massive apertures, points where the Earth's internal energy, atmosphere, and localized magnetic forces bleed outwards. These energetic leaks create a unique cyclonic magnetic field that could, theoretically, stabilize a transitional tunnel or entry point, forming a permeable membrane between the surface and the inner world. This is the Agartha Gate. Further supporting this are sophisticated non-military seismic and hydroacoustic studies from the Arctic and Antarctic. Analysis of historical radar and sonar records suggests persistent, powerful, unexplained subsurface echoes, acoustic signatures that are too sharp, too regularly spaced, and too far-reaching to match known geological formations, but rather suggest massive, empty, cavernous spaces beneath the surface. These signatures, often occurring at depths that defy conventional structural integrity, point directly to a colossal artificial infrastructure, not a natural cave system. The biggest scientific hurdle, the concept of a hollow structure, is addressed by proponents through a radical reinterpretation of gravity. Hollow Earth advocates often cite the work of thinkers like Edmund Halley, arguing that the planetary mass is concentrated in a dense inner shell, and that the gravitational field within the cavity would originate from this shell. This implies that once a traveler passes the crust's inner boundary, they would experience an inverse gravity, eventually feeling pulled down towards the inner surface. This allows for a massive, livable space illuminated by the internal sun, a remnant of the planet's formation, held in perpetual suspension and stability by the unique inner magnetic forces. This internal sun, according to Agarthan legends, is the source of the Vril energy sought by the Nazis, a limitless, powerful psychokinetic energy source that the inner Earth inhabitants have fully mastered. The technology of Agartha is based entirely on the manipulation of this Vril field, allowing them to maintain their perfect climate, power their disc-shaped craft, and enforce their absolute isolation. Part 4. The Agarthan Cloak and the Temporal Guardians. If this civilization exists, their most critical operation is undoubtedly concealment. The modern ubiquitous surveillance of the Earth by satellites demands technological countermeasures far beyond camouflage paint. The investigation shifts to the highly analyzed satellite anomalies over the Antarctic continent. Over the past 2 decades, high-resolution images from several non-military satellites have captured inexplicable recurring circular voids, massive areas of missing digital data, or, in thermal imaging, a sudden stark change in the physical heat signature over the polar plum. These are routinely dismissed by space agencies as data corruption, camera artifacts, or polar atmospheric interference. However, conspiracy analysts believe these are tangible visual artifacts caused by an advanced temporal spatial shield deployed by the Agarthan civilization. This shield functions as an active, energetic cloaking mechanism designed to disrupt the sensitive sensors of spy satellites, rendering the enormous polar entrance completely invisible to continuous electronic scrutiny. When the satellite attempts to image the region, the shield creates a brief, localized digital whiteout, a deliberate energetic denial of photographic evidence. The Agarthans are not merely isolationists, they are, according to the deep mythos, the guardians of the Earth's timeline. Their core mission is to monitor and, if necessary, counteract the surface world's self-destructive tendencies. The legendary warnings given to Byrd were not a simple plea for peace. They were a systemic notification that the surface world's unchecked extraction of finite resources and the introduction of nuclear energy, which creates deep, resonant instabilities in the Earth's mantle, are violating the planetary stability agreements long held by the inner Earth. The biggest scientific evidence of their subtle intervention lies in global seismic quirk data. Independent seismologists have for years documented sudden, massive, yet completely silent seismic events originating from impossible depths, shocks that cannot be explained by conventional plate tectonics. These events are often followed by the sudden, inexplicable cessation of a major conflict or a geopolitical crisis. The theory holds that these silent quakes are not natural. They are targeted seismic interventions by the Agarthans, designed to disrupt the delicate political or military stability on the surface, preventing humanity from reaching a point of absolute self-destruction. The entrances to this realm are not confined solely to the poles. They are believed to be linked via a massive subterranean network. Rumors persist of other key access points: deep, high-pressure oceanic trenches, ancient abandoned mine shafts in the American Southwest, particularly near the Four Corners region, and, most famously, the tunnels rumored beneath Mount Shasta, California, a mountain that has been a spiritual beacon and an enigma for centuries, often associated with tales of hidden Lemurian or ascended masters.
Part 5. The New Cold War and the Terrestrial Custodians. The geopolitical landscape of the 21st century suggests that the major global powers are fully aware of the hollow Earth reality and are engaged in a secret, aggressive terrestrial Cold War for access to the inner world's technology and resources. Consider the recent massive investment in deep drilling technology and the frantic race for rare earth elements. While publicly framed as an economic necessity, these operations may be veiled attempts to breach the inner crust and make contact. The collapse of the Russian Kola super-deep borehole project in the early 1990s is often cited as a cautionary tale. Officially abandoned due to high temperatures, conspiracy theories suggest the drilling stopped because the scientists began encountering unearthly, chaotic acoustic signatures, the terrifying sounds of a populated world beneath the crust, forcing the abandonment of the entire facility under absolute secrecy. The ultimate objective of the inner Earth civilization dictates the future of the surface world. If they are truly the terrestrial custodians, their patience with the surface world is finite. The constant depletion of the Earth's resources, the pollution of the oceans, and the unstable nature of our energy sources are all viewed as direct threats to the stability of the entire planetary system, including the inner world. The terrifying thought is this: the warnings given to Admiral Byrd decades ago were conditional. We were given a temporal window to correct our trajectory. As the surface world rushes headlong toward ecological and nuclear disaster, the Agarthan's posture may change from one of passive observation to active intervention. The entrances, whether they are at the magnetic poles or deep beneath the ancient mystical hubs of the American West, represent not just a frontier of exploration, but the greatest existential secret of our time. The race is not to conquer space, but to understand the realm beneath our feet. Because the secrets of our past, the limitless energy that could save our future, and perhaps the ultimate fate of humanity itself, lie not in the stars above, but right beneath the concrete foundations of our civilization. And the silence from the void is deafening. But when the magnetic field dips and the satellite image blurs, you must remember that they may already be watching us, not from the skies, but from a perfect, stable, technologically superior world at the core of our own. The real frontier is down, not up. And the next time the Earth shakes, it may not be a geological event. It may be the sound of Agartha's gates being opened.